Okay, some of these you can do really quickly, so I just want to go over those ones. How many zeros does, all you want to find out is how many zeros does it have, so the highest degree of the exponent is 4, and so your answer is going to be 4. It's that easy, okay? What are all the rational zeros? This takes some time. I'm just going to say synthetic division. You have to use that, or the three-number multiplication trick. All right, so that takes some time, but the first one you could do really quickly. Now look at the third one. Look at the third one, because you may be like, oh, it looks hard, but it's really, 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 you should be able to do it really quickly, because when I substitute 0, what do I get? I get 0. So that means the point 0, 0 has to be on the graph. So it's not on this graph, not on this graph, not on this graph. So it has to be D. So, always look for simple things like that first. Who cares about the rest? Because that's all you need to solve the problem. Okay, so here you want to put it in your calculator. It even tells you to. And every time it crosses the x-axis, that's a 0. So for number 5, 1 0 is right here. 1 0 is right here. So that's what you want to approximate it. That's negative 2.5, comma 0. That's one of them. One of them's right there, so that's negative 1 0. And the other one's right there, which is about 1 2 3 0. Okay, so my point is that 2 or 3 out of these 5 you could have done in about 5 seconds. Okay, so that's it. A 0 is just every time the graph, and it's basically an x-intercept. Let's look at the next one. This one's a little tricky. How many zeros does the function have? So we look at the highest degree of the exponent, and notice how it's 6. It's not 4. So the answer is 6. This is, I'm going to say synthetic. It takes a little bit of time. But you know that 0 has to be one of them. So it can't be this one. Can't be that one. So it has to be C, E, or D. And you just have to work it out with synthetic substitution. Again, this is just like the one before. Blah, blah, blah. We plug in 0. What do we get? 0. So x is 0. I get y is 0. So this point has to be on the graph. Can't be this one. Can't be this one. So it's either B or D. Now, you just have to remember that every time there's a squared, it's a parabola. So it has to be D. All right, that was a little tricky, but you have to remember that every x squared is a parabola, so it's going to look like that. It can't be this one. All right. So again, 4, you want to use your calculator. Every time it crosses the x-axis is a 0. And here you can just look at the picture and do it. So here we have, this is a 0, obviously. Here's another one. I'm going to say, I don't know, 1.2 maybe. I'm approximating it, right? And right here is about 1, 2, 3, 3.4. I don't know. Just approximating it. So that's it. That's it, okay? All right, let's move on to test 3. What are all the real solutions? So you subtract 8 from both sides, cube root it, and it's just negative 2. Just negative 2. Synthetic substitution here, right? Or you could use the 3-number trick. So, because your answer choices are given, you can do that. So, for example, look at D. So negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 5 equals 80. So three numbers multiply to this, add to this. So it has to be D. You know, you could do it synthetic substitution, but don't forget we can still use this trick. Okay, this is a tricky one. Now, put it this way. So if I have this times, x plus 2, my zeros are always the opposite, right? If this is equal to 0. So if this is my 0, my factors have to be the opposite of them. So that's one opposite. The opposite of this is x minus 1. Opposite of this is x minus 4. So I want to look for these, but there could be a number in front, which I don't know what it is. So plus 3 minus 1, it can't be this one. So you just have to, and then the other important bit of information is you plug in 0, you get the value 7. And I believe that D does that. You plug in 0, you would get 7. So it's D. Again, this is one of those ones that's super easy. You just have to know what to do. Here, the zeros are, one of them's right there, so I'm going to say negative 2 comma 0. Another one's right there, 1 comma 0. Another one's right there, 3 comma 0. So it's that easy. Every time it crosses the x-axis, it's a 0. So bam, that's it. Okay. Here you could use the three-number trick or synthetic substitution. It's going to take a little bit of time, so I'm going to skip that one. Okay, I mean, you solve all of these by cross-multiplying, but here's the point. You can never divide by 0, so right off the bat, I have to say it cannot be negative 3, and it cannot be 8, because that would cause the denominators to be 0. And the rest of it, I just, solve it out like I normally would. So, we do a little bit of algebra. Right? And we do a little bit of work and you'll get a solution. But the whole point of these is right off the bat, let's say hypothetically you got 8. That would be an extraneous solution because it matches that. So the point is right off the bat, immediately eliminate the denominators before you cross multiply. Okay, so I'm going to skip all that. Again, these are really easy. The whole point is you just have to remember to check your answer when you're done. So watch this. I'm going to square both sides here. So that means I multiply it by itself. So negative 15 times negative 15. So I just multiplied it by itself. This gives me 225. 3 times 3 is 9. And then this times this is just 5x. So 225 equals 45x. So I end up dividing by 45. I end up getting 5. Now, you have to check your answer when you're done. You have to check your answer when you're done. So let's do that. Now, keep track of the 5, because I have to delete this stuff. So, sorry about that, 1 second. So, the whole point is when I substitute 5 in, is it going to work? So, I have to go back to the original. Negative 15 equals 3 root 5 times 5. So that's 25. It does not work. You see that? Because I would get negative 15 equals 15. which doesn't make any sense. So the extraneous solution is 3. Okay? So just make sure to check your answer when you're done. That's it.